people. Christian here from Good Vibes Only. We're here with Adam from Ananda.
Shuck up my breath, bras.
We're going to be doing it a little bit differently today and being extremely vulnerable with all of you, rewinding back to pre-Good Vibes Only and pre-Ananda. This is going to be at times a little bit uncomfortable for Adam and I because it's so far from who we are now.
It's like another life.
That it's, uncomfortable.
It's also at times probably going to be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, yeah, and we're going to try our best to keep it as lighthearted as possible because we want to get deep, but at the same time, we don't want to go like too deep. We want to keep it
lighthearted and real.
Yeah.
Be real. We want to be real.
And we want you guys to connect with us on a different level than you ever really have. Because for us now in a, I guess, professional context, it's passion-based work that we're both doing. And it's very serious a lot of the time because it is passion-based. It comes from a place of hurt or a place of going through challenge and struggles that... it's quite serious for us.
Healing and growth is serious.
Yeah.
But we're people at the end of the day, and we've had lives before this, and we still have lives outside of this.
Yeah.
We're real people. We're nowhere near perfect. We're all on a journey, and I just think it would be cool if I was to put my shoes in the audience, my feet in the shoes of the audience.
Yeah.
Then I would like to see the sort of behind the scenes and really the backstory. And just it's vulnerability, I suppose, but it's also just authenticity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being genuine about how far we've actually come. Because thinking about just the few stories we've been yarning about before we started and pressed play on this, it's very, very buzzy to think how far we've come and the shit we used to do and the antics we used to get up to.
Yeah.
In our whole adult life, there was 6 months. Basically 6 months where we were both single at the same time, and a few of our stories today are going to come from that time.
Yeah. I think one thing to also mention before we kind of start, I haven't really asked Adam if he's the same, but whenever these stories come up, there's a feeling in the pit of my stomach that's like, ooh, gross. But at the same time, I think this will be part of letting that shit go. Getting it out there and letting our truth just sit in the open. Hopefully will be very refreshing for us, and then also give a chance for everyone wanting to connect with us on that deeper level. So what I kind of asked Adam to do before we started was write down our 4 most memorable moments together. And obviously when you say memorable, there's going to be some disgusting shit that comes up too.
Some loose stuff.
But we'll start with number 4.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
too.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 3. What do we got?
I reckon start with number 4. And then
Number 4, nice and tame. What was it, a couple years ago? I think at the time... Was it a couple?
There.
Oh, am I moving it?
Was it 2017? I think it was.
That was when we went overseas. Maybe it was the year after. It doesn't really matter what year it was.
2019, I'd say.
I think it was 2018, actually. No, it doesn't matter. But anyway, it was over Christmas. I was working in real estate at the time, but money was lean. And also I was going through a few issues. So, just put it out there. Issues with my partner at the time. We'd sort of drifted apart quite a bit. And so she ended up going to Aussie for New Year's and Christmas. Or just New Year's, actually. After Christmas she went. And Chris and I, with a few other mates of Christians, who are now mates of mine as well. Shout out Cam Banks and Quacky boy.
Woohoo!
And our other bro.
What was the other bro's name?
Oh, that's awkward.
What is his name? It starts with an S. No, it's Amar.
Amar, yeah.
You were right. S.
Yeah. No,
What's S?
He's the man.
Yeah,
anyway, we got up to some antics. So it was over, as I said, New Year's break, and we joined Funco.
School lady.
School
Fuck
lady.
you, school lady. No.
Fuck you, Pete.
Sorry, we'll explain that a little more in detail.
Yeah, so we're working for a company called Funko. So they did inflatable parks.
Funko promotion.
Funko promotion. Shout out Les.
Yeah, Les
And
Clark. Search him up.
Look them up if you got any events where you want some inflatable equipment. They're awesome. They've got their crowning glory is an 8-meter inflatable slide, which we had great pleasure. Well, I say we. It was probably just me throwing kids down if they were too scared to go down it. But only with their parents' permission first. So.
Hurt my heart doing that, to be honest.
Yeah. No, it wasn't as brutal as I made it sound. Just exaggerating, but a hyperbole doesn't go amiss.
Pretty brutal.
One of them was, yeah. But your dad wanted it to happen, so. And I can't control how they land.
You
happened.
created trauma in that child's life that will last a lifetime.
Bro, that was character building. Character building.
Imagine this. Okay, picture this. You're, what, 6? Was he 6? 7?
I'd say 8.
8, okay. 8 years old, standing at the top of an 8-meter tall water slide, inflatable water slide, so not that fucking stable. And you're standing at the top of this slide, crying your eyes out. Your dad's behind you.
There's a queue of kids. I think that's what gets them the most. It's the pressure. So you've been waiting for, say, half an hour to get to the top of the slide in this queue.
And it builds.
It's a hot day.
Boom.
It's like, there's this pressure. There's this line that's building throughout the day. You get to the front of the line, and you don't realize until you're up there. And I can only imagine for a little kid that it would actually seem quite high.
Yeah.
So you don't realize until you're up there, this vertical drop, and then it slides out like this, and you launch off the end into a little puddle. And you could go up there with the best intentions, thinking it's going to be super fun, and then get to the top and feel maybe a bit bewildered. And I think that's sort of what happened.
But also picture this, a dude with a comb over, a really sunburnt face, towering over you.
And I had blistered lips as well. I had blistered lips, so I probably looked like cracked out.
And very hungover. There was not a day that we did not drink.
Yeah, it just stunk of Dobro. Like, it was seeping out my pores. And, and I'd be using, because I was just starting a sort of natural kick. And rather than using toothpaste that summer, I thought it was a good idea. And it was. It actually feels real good on your teeth. Do recommend. But maybe not if you're in the sun all day. Using coconut oil as toothpaste. So the coconut oil made my lips crack and blister like the worst I've ever had. It was super painful.
Oh my.
So
I didn't
it
even
looked
know
like
that.
a cracky probably.
And you're getting forced down a slide at 8 years old. Consider all of that. And then...
Yeah, it was a gentle drop, but it was a steep fall. And... He was not happy when he got to the bottom. Was his mum at the bottom?
I think his mum.
I think he got consoled by mum at the bottom, and probably dad got blamed rather than me. I did feel bad, and I do feel bad. Sorry to that kid, whatever your name is. Shout out.
Brandon, we'll call him.
Yeah, Brandon.
Bloody Brandon.
But who knows? He might be.
It might have changed his life in a good way.
Yeah. Sometimes these things make you reflect.
So, yeah, just to kind of rewind, we've jumped straight into some stories, but basically we're working for Funko Promotions. We're in the Coromandel, dotted around, but our base is in Whitianga.
Yeah.
We were going down to, where else? We went to Waihi, we went to
Cook's Beach,
Coromandel Township.
Just moving around the Coromandel, basically.
And we had the huge 8-meter inflatable water slide. We had cheese balls, which was like those wipeout balls that were really big. We had what was it?
I don't know, like a combat course, all this sort of stuff where it's all inflatable and it's all for kids.
Yeah. Teacups. We had some fucking teacups.
Oh yes, yeah, Pete's teacups.
And we had the pirate ship. Mini pirate ship. It was pretty.
Bro, I had that thing on lock, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, it takes a bit of finesse.
Yeah, because you had to push it to get it started. And sometimes it would slow down or have a few issues. But yeah, nah. It was good times, eh? It was Great
real,
times.
like a lot of male bonding, a lot of drinking, a shitload of drinking. I don't know. I look at it this way, and I understand what you're saying in terms of like some bad memories and like going back to how we were sort of mentally at those stages in our lives. But I think I always come back to this contrast piece, this contrast that shows us how great and how much we should appreciate the highs and be grateful for the highs, because we have that reference point, which is the low times. And there's that duality as well. Like we have these funny memories, and it's that camaraderie that you build when you're just letting loose and letting the walls down with the boys and just getting up to mischief and antics. When it doesn't cross the line, it's good fun. And sometimes you push it too far and you learn where those boundaries are. But without that duality, you wouldn't get the fun part. So so just sort of like taking the good with the bad, which I appreciate. And there was some tough mental times and it was challenging and trying, but it got us to where we are today.
100%. And I think that's probably the key thing that always makes it sit okay when I tell these stories, is the fact that you have to go through the shit times in order to get to the good times. And even though these memories are quite like funny, I think back to the place that I was in and the reason why I was doing all that stuff, and it did not come from a good place. And I think that's something also to consider when you're looking around at your family, your friends, and people around you, is that sometimes the people with the brightest smiles or the biggest smiles hide the deepest scars. And that was fucking me for a long time. And I think, when I reflect back on these times, these were some of my hardest times. And I touched on it on the podcast last week, the one that dropped. And I talked about how I didn't realize for a very long time that a lot of it was because of what I was going through at that time, in terms of like losing physical activity, not being able to train as much, being injured, all those kind of things was huge foundational parts. And then it led into like bad eating, working heaps of hours, like never having downtime, and it just like flowed on into everything. And then my relaxation was getting fucking lit, you know. And then you never get to recover because you're just constantly running on empty.
You're masking and you're burying emotions and numbing, exactly.
But it's fun.
There's some fun memories and it's some funny shit, and there's no getting around that. And that's why people go back to it. It's because you do have those highs within the lows. You're living in this contrast life and this duality where you're going from peak to trough, and you're just chasing the next high. And whether that be alcohol or drugs, we've got other stories, sex, there's so many different masks. Everyone has different masks and different coping mechanisms and strategies. It could be exercise, it could be food, as Christian talked about on his last podcast. It's about everything in moderation, You can abuse anything, you can become addicted to so many different things, and start to rely on them.
I'm just in like deep reflection here, thinking about like what I was going through at that time. But I think, like we said at the start, we'll try to keep it light. And so
if we start lighthearted, then we can go deeper later, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think when I reflect back on that trip, it was probably from like the 28th of December right through to maybe like mid-Jan, maybe the 13th-ish.
I don't know.
I can't remember, but it was something like that. And there would have been not a night while we were away that we weren't completely
not even just a few beers a night, like shit tons. And there was a reason we were buying Dobros, because we were all broke and we wanted to get as fucked up as we could for the least amount of money. So we were all on the Dobros going to, it's called Smitty's now, but whatever it was called down in Whitianga.
What was it called? Frankie's.
Yes.
Woo! Shout out to Frankie's.
Little giveaways, you got free Jim Beam sunglasses.
I've still got those.
All wearing them every day around Whitianga. And I think we became pretty well known.
And we were very well known. We were the dudes that were working on the bouncy castles. But also I think our sole purpose while we were away was just like chatting to chicks. And it was just like getting numbers, and like, although you were in a relationship, you were there for it. Like
No.
Not in that way. You weren't there for it in a like trying to chat chicks up. You were there for it as like, this is crack up kind of.
Oh yeah.
You were supporting the boys. Yeah.
Wingman.
And it was crack up.
Yeah, it was crack up. But yeah, like you, when I think back and then I start thinking about the partner I was with at the time, I won't use names out of respect. But we were going through tough times, and yeah, I was masking that. I wasn't feeling great about where we were at. Obviously, like you want to be with your partner over a New Year's break.
Yeah.
It's like quite an important day, and we weren't together, and we weren't really talking either, which was another layer to it. Like even New Year's night, I remember calling her up, and I was just like nothing really going on there.
Yeah.
And that's after a very long-term relationship. So, yeah, I was just using the drink as a mask, spending time with the boys, which was good. Like, there was good camaraderie there, and it was a nice distraction, and that's what it was, a distraction. I didn't have the tools at that point to deal with what I was going through. I wasn't very self-aware in terms of the emotions that I was experiencing, and a thing I touched on in our last podcast was that rage, which was always there, bubbling under the surface, and came out in different ways. I just had a flashback of fucking Cam running through a sign. Did he get through it?
He got through it.
He did it.
So, it's
like a solid plywood sign, and we were just like vandalizing sign after sign. And when we drove back down the road the next morning, there was just like all this shit flattened.
When we were trying to steal the fucking duck.
Oh, the duck. Yes. It's like 3 meters up in the air on this plywood platform, and a big like, I forget, was it a plumbing company? And they had a
Duck World or some shit. I don't know.
Duck World.
Duck World.
A plumbing company called Duck World.
I don't know. But anyway, it was just, I had a flashback when you were talking about the rage, and that's why I laughed about Quack saying, I'm a lifeguard. I'm trained to break people's necks. And I was like, you're a lifeguard. You're meant to prevent that shit, not fucking break
to
people's
save
necks.
people with broken necks.
But yeah, like on that trip, there was just so many nights of like a lot of drinking, wasting a lot of money. I think that's a big thing too. The fact that we were in such a bad place, and we were.
I think we were all there to get money as well. We were spending every bit of money we earned at the pub or on Dobro.
Yeah.
And eating.
Were we smoking durries at that time?
I don't think I wasn't. Maybe had one. Maybe you were?
I probably was, sure. I think.
Yeah, I might have been social at the most, but I don't think so.
I feel like I was. Me and Quack used to
What
smoke.
about Amar? Did he smoke?
Maybe? Yes, I smoked a lot at that point, I think.
And maybe I smoked here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of hazy memories from that time.
Me, Quack, and Amar were smoking, and then I think you would have the odd one.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, wasting our money on Dobros, durries, and just, like, anything else that we could. We were living off fish and chips, and, like, just breaking shit everywhere we went, and it was just... Although we look back on it, and it's, like, funny and lighthearted, there's
a serious side and the downside to it as well.
That we were doing stupid shit. Like, we were breaking signs, we were, like, causing a ruckus everywhere we went. We were, like... Remember when the cops came and they were like... It was... I put my hand on his shoulder and I was talking to him. No, we were saying... fuck you, Pete. Fuck you, Pete.
We started a chant.
Fuck you, Pete. And, like, everyone was doing it. It was New Year's night. And the police obviously thought we were saying, fuck you, pigs. And so they pulled over. And then I was like, I put my hand on his shoulder and I was like, look, calm down, mate. We're saying, fuck you, Pete, not fuck you, pigs. And he's like, you fucking smart ass. If you keep fucking talking, I'll get every cop in the Coromandel down here in fucking 10 minutes. Or less. And I was like...
I'm pretty sure we were like, that'd be a fucking waste of resources.
But also, 4 cops in the Coromandel? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, like, we could have got into trouble there too. Like, we could have... Oh no.
It's alright, I got it. Keep going.
Yeah, we could have got into trouble there. I think left, right and centre were walking on fucking eggshells, to be completely honest. And like, if we... had done things a little bit worse, maybe we would be in a different place. You know what I mean? I think we were,
not making the best decisions.
not doing the smartest shit. Who was that guy? The guy from Auckland, or used to live in Auckland, West Auckland. And then when Cam broke the sign, he was fucking out after us. Do you remember that?
No.
So we met this guy at the pub at Frankie's, and we were walking home with him, and he was just loving us. He was like not getting enough of us. But then we walked off in front of him. I think Adam was still behind talking to him, and Cam ended up breaking another sign. I probably had at that point too. Sorry to keep dobbing in Cam, but like he was mostly breaking signs. We were breaking.
He was the ringleader. We were just tempting him or
telling him to do it.
Didn't take much persuasion.
No, but yeah. So we had walked off ahead and broken a few signs, and then this guy who was talking to Adam just fucking started raging. He's like, these fucking Aucklanders coming to the Coromandel and breaking shit, what the fuck? And he was like searching for us, walking up and down the road that we were staying on in the school, and like we could just hear him fucking yelling. Do you not remember this?
No, it's sort of coming back to me.
Yeah. And we like ran away and hid. And then
oh, that's right. There's a video of that, you taking a dump on the field.
Yeah. This is my school.
Did someone else do it? Or like some strangers were there, right? And that's how it came about, like
nah, so
to do it?
It was maybe New Year's Eve, so it was the day before I'm talking about, when that guy was walking off after us. And some kids had come into the school, or like teenagers, and they were saying like, this is my school, and then like trying to make a joke out of it, but obviously saying it's their school and we were staying there. And so I went out onto the field, and they were still walking around off in the distance, and I took a shit, and I was like, this is my school. Yeah,
marking your territory.
Yeah. Usually dogs do it with pee, but I decided to do it with shit for some reason.
Nice.
Alcohol induced, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Much.
Oh my gosh. So that's story 1. Story 2 is our trip. This is cool. It's like a lot of cool memories on this. Again, but it wasn't too far after, was it? Maybe the next year.
After the inflatables.
Was it before the inflatables?
No, it was 2019, I think. We went on the trip.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, we went to Europe together. Awesome trip.
Mm-hmm.
So we started off in Paris, spent a day in Paris, then caught the Eurostar to London, then went to Mallorca, and then we split off. We stayed in Mallorca for a week. One of my flatmates and a good friend of my partner at the time, Sarah Brunelli. Shout out Sarah if you see
Sarah,
this.
you're a great
You're
human.
such a great human with a beautiful heart. And
I miss you.
family. And I miss Simon as well. Simon was the man.
Psy guy. Just got a mad payout.
Did he?
From his
multiple.
Oracle.
Yeah. He was a Yossi. Went with Team New
Oracle.
Zealand and Oracle and many others. Anyway, we're in Mallorca for a week, staying with Sarah, and also our sister was living in Mallorca at the time. So it was really awesome having not seen her for ages. She'd been in Aussie before that.
Yeah.
So going from Paris to London, over to Mallorca, spending this time together. And again, me and my partner at the time weren't in the best place, so me and Christy ended up spending quite a bit of time together, and obviously with our sister Anna as well. So the memorable time on that stage of the trip, that leg of the trip, is many memories.
In Mallorca.
Yeah, Mallorca was that vertical bungee, if that's what you call it. Yeah. So, someone, I won't name names, but we got a hold of some local produce, shall we say?
A lot of local produce.
Local produce that... also known as nose beers, if you're familiar with that term.
Nose beers.
We had a few nose beers and then went out to town, also a bit of local green as well, in a way that I'd never had it before, with one of those...
Volcanoes. It was a volcano.
Volcano that puts you on your ass.
Oh, I remember just being out of it.
Yeah, we needed that nose beer after that.
Yeah.
And ended up going clubbing in Magaluf, which is notorious.
World renowned.
Yeah, quite renowned. Renowned. Pretty busy. A lot of students there. Yep. And my sister and her partner at the time were working on a vertical bungee. So one of these like caged things where you sit in, get harnessed, and then it launches you up into the sky. So you can imagine pinging high on Spanish cocaine and going on this. I had the time of my life. We still got videos somewhere. I think it's on
maybe
Facebook of us just chewing our faces off on this vehicle.
It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was real high. And just being with Anna, I think that was a real cool part.
Because it had been so long since we had spent quality time with her.
Yeah.
She left probably when I was like 15-ish.
Yeah.
And didn't come back properly until I was like 22 or 21. And so...
Well, after that trip, basically, yeah. Because... Did she go back to Aussie?
Oh, yeah, she came back with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
21 maybe.
Her and her partner broke up while we were over there.
Yeah, and so
you went to...
she took an impromptu flight because I was going to Ireland to see my mate Mitch. And so she took an impromptu flight with me over to Ireland, and we lived with Mitch for like, I don't know, maybe like a month-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe longer, I can't remember. But yeah, it was super, super cool. Really quality time with her. But yeah.
Yeah, it's different when you're traveling, especially when you get to the edge in terms of like finances, like you did, and you're just like living off the smell of an oily rag. You know, you got your ticket home, but you're just trying to survive, and you guys were in like hostels and stuff, eh? Yeah,
we were just obviously staying with Mitch, but got to a point where we kind of like overstayed our welcome, I guess, but also the bro was just kind of in a really odd time in his life. And I don't know, I won't tell that story. That's his story to tell. But it was super traumatic, and he was doing some pretty messed up shit. So we
just sort of told the story.
You didn't tell shit. So we kind of ended up having to leave. And we went to Galway, and like Adam was saying, I was living with, like, I got to a point where I was on less than £4 a day. So like that's about $12 New Zealand. I had left to spend in like maybe the last 3 weeks of the trip.
Get you a cheeseburger and a coffee.
Yeah, and so I was living off that £4. Anna and I were just kind of walking around, figuring out what to do. There was also a point in Spain where we were like pretty much homeless, Anna and I, because Adam had moved on. She broke up with her partner, and we ended up like squatting pretty much in a house up the hill, which, yeah. And then, yeah, it was pretty intense. And then obviously get back to where I was at. I was in Ireland. We were living off £4 a day, or I was at least. We'd gone to a op shop. And I kind of just like got this jacket, and I was like, this is mean. And then I was trying it on, and I was like, yo, this looks sick. It was like a khaki green jacket. And at that point in time, like, I didn't really have a lot of jackets or anything that looked nice. So I was like, yo, I'll buy it. It was £8. So, you know, over my quota for the day, obviously, just on that. Didn't even get food.
All good, I won't eat for 2 days.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was thinking. And then bought the jacket, walked outside. Because when I was trying it on, like, I had my hands in the pockets, and I was like, what is that? Like, I can feel something in there. And I didn't know what it was, but I could feel it. And so I went outside to check it. And there was, like, this secret compartment on the inside in a secret pocket. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I, like, opened it up. There was like a zip, and then there was a pocket. So it was like zip, pocket, put my hand in, and it was like £300 in the pocket. And I was like, holy fuck. And just to put that in context, that's like 900 New Zealand dollars. And so I went from like being so poor on my last £4 a day, which is like $12 New Zealand, to 900 New Zealand dollars in my pocket. And it just like, yeah, sent the trip into overdrive at the end. And
yeah, because it was right near the end, right?
Yeah. 3 weeks left, I think. So.
Oh, okay. So not right at the end.
Not right at the end. But yeah, so I ended up donating like, I don't know, £20 or something, and then keeping the rest, and maybe £40. And then kept the rest, and Mitch and I just got way more pissed and smoked a lot more dough until I got home. But that was basically it.
Yeah, and meantime I'd gone to Portugal, which I loved. Again, even though me and my partner weren't on the best terms at the time and that wasn't going great, the place we were in was amazing. We landed in Lisbon, and our family actually originally comes from Portugal, which is why I wanted that to be a leg of our trip. So that was real special, just being in like, obviously it's quite distant, it's 3 or 4 generations back, but just being on the ground that we know that our ancestors were on was really cool. So we went from Lisbon out the coast to Sintra. So Lisbon's like the main, I think it's the capital. Yeah, out to Sintra, which is where all the castles are in the hills, and then just followed the coastline up, had a rental car, and just jumped from town to town. Went to Nazaré, which is where the big wave surfing happens. So that was awesome to see. Actually, there weren't any big waves when we were there, so that was a bit disappointing. But it's still awesome place.
Like cliff face, and then the waves.
Yeah, I think there's a lighthouse there. Yeah, there's a red lighthouse, and the waves are just insane. So we followed the coastline up, got lost one day, and ended up in this sleepy little town, which was actually the highlight of the trip for me. We went to this place called, we got lost in Liera, I think it was called. Maps weren't working, there was like shitty internet connection. Found our way to this place called Toma. And it was a place that was conquered by the Knights Templar way back in the day when the Christians were moving through and slaughtering all the Muslims.
Oh shit!
And so the Knights Templar moved through this particular part, and they built a castle, and they had like all their set up there. We stayed at the local hotel. It's a real sleepy little town. Probably a population of, I don't know, a couple thousand or something, really small. And at the hotel we got to know the bartender and showed him recipes for different cocktails, and he made specific cocktails for us. Just had a recce around the castle and stuff, and it was real wholesome, just like being in a small town after being in all these big cities like Paris and London. Even Mallorca had that big city vibe, where there's a lot of money there, you know, a lot of foreigners. So it's just like every global city is very similar in that sense, that like you just have not many locals, more a bit of like a cosmopolitan vibe, I suppose you could say, with a lot of different nationalities. And then from there, from Toma, we went up to Porto. So I worked up all the way from the bottom to the top of Portugal. One thing I will say is our food in New Zealand is fucking amazing, and going over there, like I wouldn't say I'm a foodie, but I like food, and I've in the past enjoyed like fine dining and stuff. Went over there, and I was fiending because like we were right on the coastline, right? I think it's the Atlantic Ocean, which is right there on the side of Portugal. And so I'm thinking, oh, the seafood's going to be mean. I'm hoping this, I'll get a taste of the local cuisine and stuff. Ordered like mussels, which I love mussels, New Zealand green up mussels. And I got them, and we're used to ones like this big, right? They came out and they're like fucking this big. And I was feeding this meal. I was like so excited. We're in Porto. I think we've been on a river cruise that day, or we're going to go on a river cruise maybe later in the day. Ordered this meal at a nice looking restaurant, and they came out like that on a small plate as well, like a side plate.
They came out like that.
Yeah, I feel the disappointment and the
heart,
bro. I don't even know if I finished them. I was just like, what is this?
What the hell?
But anyway,
can't even call those mussels.
Nah,
those are pippies.
Shocking. Anyway, grateful for our cuisine here.
Yeah.
So that's story number 2. Story number 3. Oh, these ones get interesting now.
Do we want to? I feel like we've skimmed over our Europe trip. I feel like there's a lot more to it. There's more substance.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you feel?
Yeah, we can go deeper. 100%.
Well,
What do you want to dig into?
Well, I don't know. Like, I was thinking highlight of Paris and like highlight of obviously you.
Oh, Paris was awesome because we had Josh and Emily. They were together at the time. One of my
Josh Dunn, you're just a great dude. Shout out to
really
you, bro.
Awesome human, bro.
If you guys know the bunker event that we did, that was at Josh's house.
Just Trust Us.
Just Trust Us. Yeah, throwback to that. What else have we done with Josh around? Josh.
Oh, everything.
Yeah, he's just a great dude.
It's like my brother.
I think having a familiar face in a foreign country was really cool.
And having his partner who was French.
Could speak the language.
Yeah, exactly. Show us around, because people in France, you probably heard it, sort of a cliche, but they really don't like it if you speak English.
Yeah.
It's like you have to speak
Parlez-vous anglais? No.
Yeah. Well, all I remember is firm tagel.
Yeah, firm tagel. Fuck
Shut
you.
the fuck up or something.
Oh.
Yeah. You always learn the worst words first. Eh?
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, anyway, so we had them. We're only there for, what, a day and a half?
Wasn't it 3? I think it was 3 days. But it was...
Okay. It was quick. And so one day I think we did 27,000 Ks or something, walking around the city. Went to the Eiffel Tower.
Fucking Airbnb, my gosh.
Carrying all our bags around, found our Airbnb. The other thing is, again, TMI, toilet talk, but after you're on a flight, I don't know if you guys are the same, this was a long ass flight. 27 hours, maybe 30 hours getting from New Zealand.
32?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, long as fuck. And airplane food is average, and I think maybe it's the altitude as well. I don't know. Got to Paris, so blocked up. And the thing about Paris is no one lets you use the toilets. There's no public toilets, and I had to like scoot around town, like on the verge of like filling my pants, you know. And finally found this little cafe. And I wasn't going to ask if I could use the toilet. I just fucking went straight in there. And it was horrendous. And the toilet was horrendous. And it was even more horrendous when I left. Went to Macca's. Macca's wouldn't let me use their bathroom. I think I offered to buy something. And still, there was not even a toilet to be used. So anyway, that's a little side story. The other thing that happened while we were there, like obviously we saw all the beautiful things. Like Notre Dame Cathedral is just breathtaking. To see the scale and the history in these buildings, like these buildings, I think took thousands of years in the case. Oh no, maybe not thousands, hundreds of years over generations to build Notre Dame Cathedral. And we don't even. Yeah, the thing I said was like there was more history in a lamppost in Paris than we had in any building in New Zealand. So that sort of puts it into perspective, and it's awe-inspiring when you're in front of these buildings and seeing them that you've seen on like postcards and like the Eiffel Tower.
You're sitting at the base of the Eiffel Tower, 324 meters. With
all those salesmen running around,
beer,
champagne, cocaine.
You got anything else? Well, yeah, comes back and fucking pulls out the weed and the like coke and shit, and we're like, oh, we were just joking.
Yeah.
But
on point.
I feel like if you bought something from them, it would be like so gross.
Yeah,
so
we just did it. But yeah, that was funny. And then what else? Oh, you got pickpocketed.
Oh, the dude tried to pickpocket me on the train in Paris. This idiot, bro. Honestly, do you think I'm that dumb to like walk around with shit in my pocket and shit in my bag? Like obviously I had my massive bag. It was the first day that we got there, right?
We had all our bags. Yeah.
I had my massive bag, but I was wearing like a backpack with like fuck all in it. Maybe a drink bottle or some shit. I can't even remember. Maybe like, I don't know. I can't even remember. But I had my drink bottle in there, and I had nothing in my pockets except for a lighter and maybe some doughies in the front pocket of my backpack. And then this dude like literally must have thought I was
like a
stupid.
SWAT team though.
It was two.
Shit.
Oh
okay.
No.
Damn it. Is that alright?
Just move it, yeah.
Yeah, they were like a SWAT team. They had it all planned out. Definitely was not their first rodeo. They that one of them got on the phone, like pretending like he had a phone call. I'll just keep talking as we adjust, refocus. Yeah, sweet. And they had it all planned out. There might have been 3 or 4 of them. One took a phone call and moved closer to you, eh?
Yeah.
And the others were like cordoning you off. And,
so
like,
there was 2 dudes. Was it
only 2?
It was only 2 dudes, yeah. And basically one of the dudes, went to take a phone call. And then when, you know how they do that shit when they pickpocket and they like tap you so that you don't notice? So there was one dude, if you're picturing a train in New Zealand, like there's the glass by the door. I'm standing holding onto the glass, and then there's the other dude right by the glass, and then one dude in the middle of the doorway. And so this dude in the middle of the doorway picks up a fake phone call, and then And then like shoves into me, and then the dude that's by the glass like starts trying to pickpocket me with his fingers. He's like got them in my pocket, and and I'm like, bro, are you all good? Like, what the fuck is going on? And they were like talking in French, obviously to each other, on the phone, but like out loud, because obviously they knew that I was foreign and couldn't understand them. It was just so stupid. And then the doors open, they got off, and I think he ended up taking my lighter, but I was like, you're stupid.
Good on you, bro. You got a lighter. Yeah. What else happened on that trip? Oh, London. The whole time in London, we just spent at the pub.
What about the alopecia guy?
Alopecia?
Alopecia?
Who's that?
We were at some like corner pub.
Oh yes, the guy from Luxembourg who owned. No, the guy who owned the pub was from Luxembourg, or the manager of the pub. There was a French guy.
No,
It was like an Irish pub, right?
I can't
In
remember.
Paris. Really close to where
No,
we
it
were
wasn't Paris. That we were in London.
It was the alopecia guy.
Alopecia guy, Adam. Adam's talking to this dude, and he's got no eyebrows and no hair. And he's like, he stopped him like mid sentence. He must have been talking. Yeah. He must have been talking to him for like 10, 15 minutes, and then he just
staring at his eyebrows the whole time.
And then he finally like worked up the courage to like stop him mid sentence and be like, "Yo, so why are your eyebrows?" And I think he made some joke like, "Did you shave them?" or something like that. Or maybe that was after, and then the guy was like, bro, I've got alopecia. And then it went from like real awkward to like, oh nah, it's all good, bro, like I don't mind, don't worry about it. But it was quite
Where was that?
funny. That was in London.
Oh, I don't really, I kind of vaguely remember
It's
that.
around the corner from that hotel that we're staying at by Kingsway or whatever. We nearly
King's
missed
Cross?
King's Cross, yeah. And we nearly missed our flight.
Yeah.
We did miss
We
our
did.
flight.
Well, yeah, that was a fuck up, eh?
Yeah.
That was real interesting. But just going back to Paris, do you remember that night at that Irish pub?
Yeah, on the corner, yeah. Or around the corner from where we were staying in the Airbnb.
That was the only time we went out, eh? Or we were there.
Those were good people. Fuck. There's a lot of people in Europe in general that just speak, like, obviously English is their second language, but they're so good at English. And, like, speak better at English than me, I feel.
Yeah, like,
Especially
I haven't
when
fucking heard that word before.
Yeah, especially when you're lit, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
spoke better
and
English than that.
we were, like, jet lagged, but
Yeah.
we wanted to go out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but it was a cool night, and there always were, like, meeting random people.
Yeah,
and
cool
just yarning
people.
yarning with everyone.
That's what I remember about, like, our trips away together. It's always, like, really nice meeting new people.
Yeah, oh, bro, you know what it takes me back to? Back to
What?
Whitianga when we were at the inflatable world and we were no, I think we were still drunk from the night before with Austin.
Austin!
From San Fran, Austin. With his
And we threw the fucking cherry tomatoes at his back and left, like, welts.
That's right. Yeah. And the next morning we were still drunk and we were just hanging out at Buffalo Beach. I think we went for a swim and we were just yarning and talking shit.
Oh my god.
We met this lady, the sweetest lady ever. I can't remember her name.
I had the hiccups and I couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah. And did she say a prayer for us or like...
She said a prayer for us and then we said a prayer for Lauren. Do you remember?
Yeah, Lauren is very atheist, I think, and she
Yeah.
felt super awkward, but we like blessed her and was super serious and like closed our eyes. I think I had my hand on her forehead and like we anointed her.
And the lady was just like,
She loved it.
because she was so religious that she was just like, oh my gosh, these guys are so cool. They're so nice.
But she was the sweetest woman, and
She
we
was
actually
so
did have
sweet.
like a genuine connection with her, even in that time. But anyway, Christian had the hiccups, and we could not get rid of them. Like he was trying all the tricks.
Like literally 3 hours.
So long.
It was crazy. Maybe even longer because it went from at night to the morning. It was like
Super frustrating.
it was so
Well, I
annoying.
think for everyone else, even more than him.
Well,
anyway,
I would have
we
been complaining a lot, so it was probably just as annoying for you
Yeah.
guys.
Anyway, we ended up going into this old people's home. We're like, if anyone has the knowledge,
Old
like
people.
some sort of home remedy, it's going to be old people, right? So it's like, mind you, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe earlier, 7:30.
We're still lit.
We're still wasted, probably stink of Dobros and durries. And we roll into this old people's home.
Beam. It was Jim Beam.
We did have Jim Beam with Austin, yeah.
Anyway, continue.
And we roll into this old people's home and there's no one there. There's like one old lady that looks
sitting in a bed like about to die. Like
yeah,
literally on
like,
the verge of death.
No like recollection that someone's come in or anything like that.
They were looking at us like, what the fuck?
We
hired that fucking bike. We hired that
we
truck.
had crocodile bikes, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we rolled
and
up
we
on
rolled we rolled into the old people's home on that.
On those 4-seaters.
And we're like riding our bike.
Oh shit. Rolled
in up onto the curb.
No brakes, like all like full tit on the way in, just rocked up. Pull up out the front, walk inside. There's no staff because I think the lady who was on was like preparing breakfast.
She was in the breakfast.
In the kitchen doing dishes or something, and went and found her. And I don't know who told us, but someone told us. It must have been her.
It was her, yeah.
Yeah, so I asked her, like, I know this is a weird question, but my brother's had the hiccups for like 3 hours and we just need to find like a way to cure it. And she's like, so what you need to do is lie upside down on the couch and drink water. And we looked at each other like, what the
Is she on something? Because we are.
Yeah. But then Christian was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, try it.
And if nothing else,
try everything else. Holding your breath, drinking water,
getting frights,
fucking
all the normal
getting scared,
yeah.
Going into cold water, having a cold swim, everything.
Nothing worked.
And we're like, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah.
So flip upside down. Picture this. No.
You want to take
upside down.
No.
Nah. Yeah, so upside down, get the water in my mouth, and I just fucking launched it everywhere. And we got up and just ran away because we were like, oh shit. But
jumped in our crocodile bike, took off,
and
then like halfway down the road, you realised
that they were gone.
They were actually gone. So maybe it was the fright. Actually, now that we reflect on it, like the shock of like, oh, I just did that, and we gotta
spat water everywhere.
Nah, we've tried it again since
yeah, it works.
So anyone out there, if you've got the hiccups now,
3 hours,
if you get them in the future, try it. Works. Like 90% of the time, all the time.
Can I just say really quickly that this merch looks amazing.
That looks fire.
And this does as well.
Yeah, mean. Who's the guy who designed this?
Shout out to Troy Sutcliffe.
Shot Troy from Holy Cross, is he?
Yeah, he's from Holy Cross. Yeah. And Y Gates did this. So he used this design and he gave us a new design. So Depresso Espresso, it's 2 dudes sitting on a couch. It's got nostalgic feels. Talking about or
referencing Friends,
as you can tell,
Central Perk
Friends couch.
Yes.
Just because I know nostalgia and like it's pairing nostalgia and relatable feelings. So you know when you feel like absolute shit and you just want to reach out to a mate.
And look at it, like you can feel the vibe. It's just like one mate holding space for another mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yarning over a cuppa.
2 dudes on a couch.
Doesn't have to be
2 chicks on a couch. It could be a chick and a dude on a couch.
2 girls in a cup. I mean,
stop.
We're going there, so.
But yeah, we're going there.
We're going there.
Last thing on the Europe trip was Spain, and how many drugs I think that we did. I think we need to.
I don't know. I can't really remember how many we did. I don't think we had that much coke. I remember having the weed. I remember having coke.
Yeah,
and
there was speed too. But I remember also how many drugs were on tap there too.
Yeah,
like
good drugs.
Good drugs. You'd just be so. Imagine being a Magaluf, right? You're walking down the road, and every little alleyway that there is and every little like club that you're walking past, there's a promoter, and this promoter offers you free drinks, free shots, and whatever you want.
I want to know how they make money. Yeah.
I don't think they do. But honestly, the alcohol that you get for free tastes like absolute shit.
True, eh?
Yeah, so
I remember that bourbon and coke. I can taste it in my mouth now. It's like the worst.
The taste and the smell of the
Yeah.
bourbon and coke in Rotorua.
Oh, bro. That's another story. That's another story altogether. Don't take... That was too recent. These are older stories, so I can palate them.
Oh, no.
That's too recent, man.
Rotorua.
Oh, yeah.
That was gross.
Well, that whole situation just still makes me so...
How long ago was that? Maybe 3 years.
It was Darcy.
It was 2020, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad with this stuff. I don't have the
But yeah.
timeline, but I have a few memories here and there.
Yeah.
So, does that cover Europe?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Just imagine walking down the strip in Magaluf, seeing obviously the, like, sphere thing. What was that?
Vertical bungee.
It was vertical bungee, and then there was the one that goes around in a circle.
Oh,
really
like
fast.
spins.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like power surge.
Uh,
You're walking down there, but every corner, every alleyway, there's a dude that offers you drugs, alcohol, and free shots, trying to get you into a club. It was insane. But also, it was so hot. So hot. It was 42 degrees. It was in the middle of a heat wave.
Yeah, that's right.
It was
Yeah, and even with
insane.
aircon, like, you're lying in bed, it was a heat wave. It was like, it had a name. What was it, like the devil's heat wave or something? Something really
crazy.
bad. Inferno. And it was like 36 degrees at night.
Mm.
And I remember just lying in bed and trying not to touch my body, like any points of contact between my arms and my torso or my legs
It
touching.
was sweaty
So
everywhere.
sweaty. Nothing covering you, completely naked and still just like so uncomfortable.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that was hectic. The water was beautiful. The people were beautiful.
Very beautiful.
And it was like a very like ostentatious place, hey? All the
Austin.
all the big money from the yachts and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I remember from Magaluf. It's just because it's such a yachty place. It's like there's more English speaking people from England and the rest of the world than there are locals, to be completely honest.
It's always cool meeting people and making connections, like especially when it's a connection back to home. Like when we went to that bar that we knew was owned by a Kiwi lady, and Sarah I think was talking about it, and I think my client had mentioned something when I told him. So I was working in commercial real estate at the time, and before I left on the trip I told one of my clients that I was going to Mallorca, and I think maybe he mentioned that. Yeah, he did. He must have, because I ended up approaching her. But that his friend, who was so super close, like a sister, owned a bar in Mallorca. So we ended up going to this bar that we knew was owned by a Kiwi. So I was like, oh, surely there's not another one. Surely there's not two bars in Mallorca owned by Kiwis. And we ended up going up. I ended up like going up to her, and not mentioning anything about the client or anything. But I just remember this like complete like darkness towards us being Kiwis. And she was a Kiwi, she had a Kiwi accent, but she just didn't give us the time of day, and it was like kind of rude. But then I mentioned, I don't know, somehow I kept the conversation going, and eventually I mentioned my client Andrew's name, and she was like, I mentioned that he said that he knew someone that owned a bar, his name was Andrew, and she like paused and looked at me after being like pretty cold the whole time. She's like, Andrew, his last name? And I was like, yeah, he's one of my good clients. And she just changed her energy up completely and felt the need to explain why she'd been so rude. And she said that most of the Kiwis that she meets in Mallorca completely hit up their own ass, really arrogant. So she'd had this like preconception there. But as soon as I mentioned his name, she started, I think she even got us some free drinks or something. Wow. And she was like real cool after that. But like that's those sort of experiences where you make connections, and like especially when it's a connection back to New Zealand, was real cool.
Shows you how small the world really is.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, we have 8 billion people, whatever, 7 billion, but so small. There's always a connection, especially within New Zealand. Like if you've ever be careful, mate.
Stop reaching.
If you've been travelling around New Zealand, like you can always make a connection back to home, back to West Auckland, even.
Bro, we're just gonna flow with whatever comes up, right? We're talking about travel now. When I was in Vietnam, I went to Vietnam on a work trip. Went to Hoi An, which is just south of Da Nang, on the southwest coast, I think, something like that. Anyway, we're staying at this real nice resort, and everyone that I was on the trip with was quite a bit older, and no one wanted to go out. There's like this ancient city and like a nightlife there and all this sort of stuff, and we did a few things together. Like I think we went on there was like night markets, and we all went to the night markets together, and I wanted to kick on afterwards, but no one else was keen. Everyone else wanted to go back to this resort we were staying at, which was an amazing resort. So I understand, like 5-star resort, like 3 different restaurants, like whatever you need was there, and it's right on the beach, infinity pool out to the beach. But I was like, no, I want to go out. I want to go out and go to these dive bars and check out like the nightlife. Just why not? Because we're here. So I jump on a scooter, get one of the little local taxi guys to take me on a scooter back to this dive bar. It felt real awkward at first because I went in by myself, and like it's not a big place. I didn't know anyone, and I wasn't super outgoing at that point. Still sort of introverted. So I sat at the bar, had a few beers by myself, and then what happened? Oh, the 2 ladies. So I saw a group and I heard a Aussie accent. So there's a group of 2 ladies, middle-aged, and 1 guy. I can't remember any of their names, but the 2 ladies came up to the bar to order a drink, and we just got chatting. And then they ended up inviting me over to sit with them, and met the guy they were with. So they're 2 Aussies, and he had an Aussie accent, I think, but I sort of started yarning with him. And at this dive bar, there's these local Vietnamese guys walking around with dive tanks. And I'm like, what's going on there? He's filling balloons up from this dive tank. And at this point, I didn't really, I'd never really done nangs and wasn't super aware of NOS at that point afterwards. But that's what it was. And so it ended up that this guy and the ladies wanted to try it, and I didn't know what it was, so they told me, and we did it together. So I had a few nangs in the middle of this dive bar together and got high, and then figured out that this guy was originally from New Zealand, but not just New Zealand, Auckland, and not just Auckland, Oratia, which is the next suburb over from where we live right now.
That's so bad.
And that was super trippy. And then I met another couple, this girl from Libya and her partner from Ireland, and we did shots together, tequila. Libya is a super war-torn part of the world, as a lot of people would know, if you've heard about the crisis and the wars that have gone on there. And her partner, again, I can't remember their names, but he was from Ireland, and he was on some sort of peacekeeping mission with the UN, I think. The UN in Libya, like helping, save people, basically, save lives. And that's how they met. And then they were on their first holiday together in Vietnam. And anyway, so I just met all these random people, and we all stayed until the bar closed, and it got pretty lit, and then jumped on a scooter back home. I still have a video on my Snapchat, but I've deleted Snapchat off of my phone, but of me on the back of the scooter, and we're just yarning as we go through the ancient city. So many cool memories, and the food there was amazing. Had this again. I'm just gonna keep waffling on. One more thing about Vietnam. I had this plate, one of the best plates of food I've ever had in my life. A whole snapper, a crispy snapper, with the head on, the whole thing, crispy skin, on a mango salad, with it just had everything a meal needs, and it was super fresh. And I'm super hungry right now, so it's making me salivate.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
Had that, and I think it was like $8 New Zealand. It was one of the 3 or 4 restaurants in Hoi An that have exactly the same name. The only difference is the number, and the name of the restaurant is Morning Glory. Morning Glory 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's correct.
Owned by the same people, but the food was amazing.
That makes sense.
And that was sick. Other trip stories.
Trips are just on. I want to do more of Asia, and I want to do Africa, man, because Adam didn't mention this before, but pre-Portugal, our family comes from Cape Verde, which is off like
the north coast
of Africa. So I want to go to Cape Verde and see what that's like.
Go right back to the roots. Yeah. So I think it's our great-grandfather 4 generations back, 3 or 4
Poppers
came on Came on a
Popper's
whaling
mum's dad, eh? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Dad.
You're female.
Mum's dad. So that's 3 generations.
Yeah.
4 generations.
Well, I don't know.
He came on a whaling ship from Portugal. So that's a pretty buzzing story. He actually died also on a whaling ship, didn't he? Fell overboard. Which in merchant navy.
You play a war in my mind. Well, some things they never change. For my own peace of mind, I'd die, but you'd stay the same.